Hello, dear friends, and here we are. Believe it or not, it's midnight. Yes, it is. In some parts of the world, but in other parts it's probably noon or 9 p.m. or whatever other time. What is important is that we are here together, right? Hello, Angelita, and we are here with our friend, Carol.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
She's here with us, and we are here for a most beautiful journey, 30 days of good news with the Master. Exactly. Hi, Adilson. Friends, why do we need this? The Spirit Mentor Joseph, with other Spirit friends, they kindly caring for all of us. They recommended that we take this journey since we have met the Master through the therapeutic journey with Paul and Stephen. Now let us cherish this deep encounter. These 30 days are therapeutic. They are for us to learn how to feel Jesus, how to feel His presence and the Master. So, are you ready? Yes? Hello, Nina and Felipe and Rita de Cássia. Thank you for being with us. So what are we going to use? One beautiful book, but you see my hands empty. Why? Because the book's not published yet in English. In Portuguese, the book is Boa Nova. Actually, it's already in Spanish as well. And even in Finnish, as far as I know, it's already in Finnish. But in English, it is ready to be published at the hands of the president of the Brazilian Spiritist Federation, because the Brazilian Spiritist Federation has the copyright of the book given by Chico Xavier, the medium, who received this book mediumistically. The spirit author is Humberto de Campos, or Brother X. A beautiful book that is really different. It's a book of unique quality because in the Spiritist literature, this book really brings to us the Jesus that is tangible, a Jesus that we can feel close to our hearts. And this book was published the year before Paul and Stephen was published. So it was precisely the year 1940, and on November 9th, 1940. And it's interesting because we were recommended to take this journey, Paul and Stephen and Good News, on November 9th, 2016. So here we have a complete circle of these many decades and the opportunity for us to take this journey with Humberto de Campos through the 30 days of good news with the Master. Hello, Sunshine. Thank you for being with us, and also thank you, Ceisa, Patricia as well. Let us go. Where does it begin? It begins in the School of the Gospel. Quite interesting. Did we know that to study the Gospel, there are spiritual schools for the Gospel? Yes, there are. And since Carol Correa is here, let me share with you. This book, the translation in English was worked upon for 3 years by a team of the Spiritist Society of Virginia. And amongst them, the final revision was done by Carol Correa and Mark Smith, because they are experts in the English language. They made sure that this book is in its best possible language for us to feel Jesus. Are you ready? Offering this modest work to you. That's how the book begins, with Humberto de Campos telling us, I'm reading to you so you can feel it too. The preface in the School of the Gospel. Offering this modest effort to you, dear reader, I think it is prudent to provide you an explanation regarding the origin of these pages. Within them, I am the first to admit that my topics are not the same. So Umberto de Campos is telling us right now, when he was incarnated as a writer and now as a spiritist spirit in the spiritual realm, he's saying that what he's writing about is different from the topics he used to write when he was incarnated. Yeah. Hi, Gustavo. Big kiss to you and Maria Marcia. Hi, Merili. Thank you for coming back. Perhaps those who care about the exceptional expression of the form will not find the same style. Nowhere have I made mythological remarks, and in those old friends who, like myself, there in the world, cannot fathom the realities of survival, I surprise you in advance regarding the strangest considerations. Some will certainly ask if I were promoted to evangelical minister. Such astonishment may be natural, but it is not very fair. The literary taste has always reflected the conditions of life of the spirit. We do not need many examples to justify the assertion. Thank you, friends, for the loving kindness. We can feel it. Can you feel it? You know, the spirit mentors, when they recommended that we be together at midnight Eastern Standard Time for 30 days, they wanted us to feel a little bit closer to the first Christians who had to meet after hours in the dark. Now we have here electricity, we have computers, we have internet, but they didn't have any of this. And they had to leave the comfort of their homes to meet and talk about it, knowing that they would be persecuted. So we can never come that close to what it was in the past, but a little bit, because it's dark outside for some of us, and we can feel what it is to go a little bit beyond what the physical body would be doing by now, which would possibly be sleeping. Possibly, depends what we would be doing if we were midnight, 9 p.m., etc. Hi, Ana Rosa. Hi, Vanessa. Happy to be here with you. Thank you. So, friends, he says, when I used to be a writer, he had a pen name named Conselheiro 20, are very different from those in which I open up the new emotions that pain, right, Carol? Like a marvelous lamp made me discover in the country of my soul. So he's saying that new emotions open up because of pain. So this is the first lesson of this night. Yes, right? First reflection for our souls. First therapeutic moment. Let's make 3 soothing therapeutic moments every night. The first one tonight. How do we see pain? Is pain for you something that is always negative and you feel like it's a punishment from the gods? Now we don't think of gods, we think of spirits, right? Obsessors. But it's all the same. It's always that same ancient Greek-Roman mentality, thinking that whenever we go through challenges, sufferings, afflictions, somebody else is to be blamed. We're being punished by other entities, by the gods, etc. Are we still like that? Or, like Umberto de Campos, he got it. Pain is a catalyst for the evolution of the soul. Pain, suffering, afflictions, a catalyst for the evolution of the soul. Right? That's right. So he's saying, through suffering, I found my new emotions. My new emotions. My current concern is not to write to please, but to write profitably. Something for us to meditate. Second therapeutic moment for us. How often do we fulfill God's will because we need to be good co-creators or simply to please people? Remember, we just finished a 21-day journey with Paul and Stephen. We learned with Paul and with Stephen too that we're committed to the truth. Though we need to be kind, we need to be tender with people, but to the truth. We're not here to be politicians in life. We're not here to caress the ego of people so they like us. That's not the goal of life, right? Right. I know how simple this effort is. However, I hope it reflects my testimony of admiration for those who work for the gospel in Brazil. In the spheres closest to earth, because Humberto de Campos was a Brazilian from the northeast of Brazil, the state of Maranhão. Wonderful, beautiful state. He came from there. He's deeply connected to the lands of Brazil, but not only. If you read up the message, you see he travels around the world. And did you know that he interviewed Marilyn Monroe in the spiritual realm, and Thomas Edison and other renowned Americans, and he interviewed them. Through Chico Xavier, he reported the whole interview. The books were published, and some of it is already at Kardec Radio. If you go kardekradio.com, there's a search bar, and you're going to be able to find these programs by typing in the names Humberto de Campos or typing in Marilyn Monroe. Actually, Thomas Edison interview is coming up this year, New Year, 2017. Okay? Hi, Publio. Wonderful having you here. So, numerous schools multiply. Sorry, let me go back one step. In the spheres closest to the earth, a revelation for us. Maybe you haven't heard of it. Maybe you read this part in the book in Portuguese or in Spanish, but we probably didn't pay attention. This is the preface. It's important to read these books from the preface onwards. Often we start from chapter 1, but the preface is where it all begins. It tells us much about what's going to be ahead of us. Prepares us. It sets the tone for us, okay? So he says that in the spheres closest to the earth, our works to perfect feelings emulating Christ are also detailed and intense. Okay, stop for a second. He's revealing to us that close to the earth there are organizations, works dedicated to perfect feelings. Have you ever thought about this? Perfecting feelings? Emulating Christ? And they are detailed and intense. He was studying there. Numerous schools multiply for the discarnate spirits. And I, who now am a humble disciple of such schools of Jesus, recognize that the spiritual planes also have their folklore. They're popular stories. That's what it means. They're not talking about things that they created. The heroic and blessed deeds, often anonymous in the world, accomplished by anonymous individuals, contain profound lessons here, in which we find new strength. Yay! That's the therapy, right? We're feeling it. We're empowering ourselves. Remember when Chico Xavier was told by Emmanuel, very well, you're working your mediumship of physical effects, because Chico was a medium of physical effects, materializations, healing. He healed Divaldo Franco's throat. And Divaldo Franco is now almost 90 years of age, thanks to the instrument, Chico Xavier as well. Sister Sheila, the spirit who performed the healing, And God's permission, Jesus also permission for the accomplishment. But one day Emmanuel turned to Chico and kindly said, Chico, from now on, let us devote ourselves to writing books. He didn't doubt. Would you, as a healing medium, stop your work if your mentor said so to write books? Psychograph books? Majority of people on earth probably would fail the test and would not fulfill the recommendation. But Chico Xavier did. Why? He was disciplined. He knew that Emmanuel was right, that these books are about the healing of the soul, which is more important for us. The healing of the soul. And here we are, to date, reading these pages that are very therapeutic. And now we have a revelation that in the spheres closest to the earth, there are schools of the gospel in which many discarnates enroll into each one of them, study, and he says they are detailed and intense. And there they learn the accomplished individuals, the profound lessons that to date give us new strength. All evangelical individuals, all evangelical expressions have amongst us their living history. None of them is a superficial symbol. Innumerable observations about the Master and his followers pulsate in studious and sincere hearts. Of the thousands of episodes of heavenly folklore, I gathered 30 and offered them for your consideration. Who is he talking to? Who is he talking to? Us, right, Carol?
Yes.
To us. He's talking to you, and to me, and to Karen, to Carlos, and to Mark, and to Virginia, to all of you, friends. No kidding. Remember when Leon Denis, in the book After Death, he writes about love, and there is a particular moment, which is one of the most beautiful ones in that book, in which he makes, he dedicates to all of us that passage and says, you who are reading these pages, we're destined to meet each other. Please receive my embrace. We're united, we're together, we're destined to be together. And they were not, saying mere words. They were actually feeling. Leon Denis was an adorable man, a very loving soul. And as much as Humberto de Campos now is opening his heart to us, he is saying that he's offering 30 main episodes of Jesus' life when he was incarnated. For you, for me, for all of us. And he says, generous friends, who offers me your attention. Aww, see how loving he is? I agree that it is few. Yeah, Humberto de Campos, you better write some more. But this should count as a useful attempt, since I am sure the indispensable help I receive did not fail me. Today, I do not think that I believe, because I actually know. Kara and I were discussing this before we opened this Facebook Live session, and we were talking about how important it is for us to know. Are you thinking this is another therapeutic moment? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. How much do you believe in the teachings of Spiritism? How much do you actually know? He's saying there's a difference between believing and knowing. Belief is more of dogmatic features. Knowing is one in which reasoning vouches for it. As Allan Kardec said, unshakable faith is the one that comes with reasoning. Some people, remember, when we were studying Spiritism, I remember a newborn Christian in the United States who came talking to me one day, and he said, I don't need books to explain the gospel of Jesus like the gospel according to Spiritism. I don't need it because I believe them. Well, it's not about believing, it's about knowing. Because when we know, we feel. When we believe, not necessarily we feel, because it's dogmatic. It's beyond belief. It's about knowledge. And when the heart knows, we're complete. Right? Yes. Let us think about this. And the Master of Nazareth also aligns my hopes. Now be prepared, because the therapeutic moment is intense. Humberto de Campos now tells us how he feels about Jesus. Let us start feeling. His preface is so deep. Throughout these 30 days, it's all about feeling. Opening our emotional and spiritual intelligence by feeling it. It's more than simply knowing the scriptures. It's sinking in into the heart of ourselves. He says, and that Master of Nazareth also aligns my hopes. I remember that one day, lecturing with some Protestant friends, I noticed that they classify Jesus as the rock of the centuries, and he's talking about when he was incarnated. I smiled because Humberto de Campos, when he was incarnated, he didn't believe, he was not religious. I smiled and moved on, like the pretentious, strong spirits of the world do. Today, however, I can no longer smile and pass by. I feel the millennial, luminous and sublime rock that sustains our heart, mired in the swamp of secular miseries. Jesus is our rock, the rock of the centuries. And here I am to give him my homage, my tribute of appreciation with these simple pages, cooperating with the ones who devotedly work in his divine cause of light and redemption. Jesus sees that a drop of his devoted and compassionate love penetrated the unclean vessel of my spirit. The wicked man who arrived on earth found the ray of light destined for the purification of his sanctuary. He supports my thoughts with his unlimited goodness. Carrie's already crying here, no, right?
Right.
Yeah, we're deeply moved here. He supports my thoughts. He's talking about Jesus. That Jesus supports his thoughts. Okay, Jesus supporting the thoughts of Humberto de Campos, who is writing here. With unlimited goodness. Let us feel it. Jesus supporting us with his unlimited goodness. Let us feel it. Feel it. Can we feel it? Let us exercise. You may be asked, how do I feel it? Yes, one day I asked Mentor Joseph, how do we start feeling the scriptures? And he said, you read it, method, read the sentence, stop, ask a personal question, breathe in and out, and allow it to be felt. Do you love it? Beautiful, right, Vanessa? Mwah. Carol is here too. Look at her. Yay. Yay. Yes. Friends with friends. Let us feel. Jesus supports us with his unlimited goodness. It feels good. Thank you, Jesus. Unlimited goodness. Unconditional. Oh no, but Jesus will not like me because I did this and I did that and the other. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He loves us unconditionally. The earth ridge still stifles the gold in my heart that he gave me out of his mercy. But as Bartholomew, one of his disciples, I already take heart to meet the enemies of my peace. Humberto de Campos, not pure spirit, he's writing to us saying, I'm still in process. I'm still working. And that's why we better listen to him, because he's ahead of us. Right? Hi, Guilherme. So, I have the joy of the gospel, because I recognize that his love will not forsake me. My spirit works and rests while relying upon such friendly and generous protection. My spirit works and rests while relying upon such friendly and generous protection. Pause. In these post-election times in the United States and in the world, we are approaching the beginning of a new moment, a new phase of life on the earth. Let us feel this, that our spirits are working and resting while relying upon the friendly and generous protection of Jesus. We have no reason to be desperate. We have no reason to be upset, no reason to be angry, no reason whatsoever. And if you want to work under the friendly and generous protection of Jesus. If you want to rest under the generous and friendly protection of Jesus. Our shelter. He's our shelter. He's our shepherd. With him, we'll never be lost again. Never, ever again. Now, says Humberto de Campos, wrapping up his preface. And then we have chapter 1. Now, to strengthen the astonishment of those who read me critically, as per the nature of time, I justify the real substance of the narrative in this book by quoting the Apostle Mark when he says in 4:34, he did not say anything to them without using a parable, but when he was alone with his own disciples, he explained everything. And the Apostle John, when he states, Jesus did many other things as well. If every one of them were written down, I suppose that even the whole world would not have room for the books that would be written. And that is it, says Humberto de Campos. As it turns out, I have no references to the classics of ancient and contemporary literature. I quote Mark and John. It is clear that there are informed spirits and evangelized spirits. And now I ask to bless my hope of belonging to the later number. Meaning, he wants to be not somebody who is informed, but somebody who really tamed the wild heart with the teachings of the good news. Ready for the good news? These are the good news. Yes, the good news is that we have the friendly and generous protection of Jesus. Can it be better than that? I don't think so. Do you know you have a friend? Yeah, you got a friend. Yeah, we got a friend. Remember the song? We've got a friend. We've got a friend. Jesus is our friend, and as a true friend, he is generous, he's friendly, and he protects us. If you need to work with him. If you need to study with him. In the book Living Spring, Emmanuel brings to us the beautiful recommendation that we need to learn how to feel in attunement with the teachings of the good news. Ready? Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is titled Good News. And Humberto de Campos, as a most, he's so skillful in his writing. His way of writing is so poetic. At the same time, he is narrating the whole scenario of the coming of Jesus and his passages here. But as intelligent as he is and insightful, he begins this book of the good news by contextualizing it all. He says that when Jesus came, before he was born, he sent people like teamwork effort to prepare the grounds. The Roman Empire was taking over everywhere. He was going to be born a Hebrew within the Roman Empire. He knew it. The big Roman Empire. And he needed people who were in sync. How do we know it? Read on the book On the Way to the Light by Emmanuel. On the Way to the Light, it's in English. There we have chapters explaining the coming of Jesus and the preparation thousands of years before he came to the earth. Thousands. He begins this chapter by telling us historians of the Roman Empire have always noted with astonishment the profound contrasts of the glorious time of Augustus. Caius Julius Caesar Octavian came to power notwithstanding his remarkable ascendancy through a series of fortunate events. Hello, Daisy. So, he's telling us, and I will not read the whole chapter maybe, or we will maybe, or not. Let's see. But he's telling us that the Roman Empire had a remarkable difference at the time when Jesus came to the earth. The emperor of the time, who was there when he was born, not throughout the whole life, but when he was born, especially, was different. Right? The elite of the old republic could not believe in his triumph. Everything was like fantastic. Having allied himself against the takeover by Antonio with the traitors who murdered his adoptive father, his intentions were always confronted by bleak prospects. Indeed, his first victories began with the establishment of the triumvirate, followed by the failures of Antonio in the east, which opened doors for him in unexpected ways. As though the world at the moment were sensing a blessed renewal of values, all the legions rapidly surrendered without resistance to the son of the sovereign who had been murdered. Now, he was the son of Julius Caesar, the adopted son of Julius Caesar, who was murdered. Now, we need to understand here that the historians didn't understand where these blessings were coming from. We, from a spiritist perspective, we already know. Because we're putting 2 plus 2 equals 4. We already know. Right? We can only understand the events of physical life when we see with the lenses of the spirit. That's why André Luiz books by Chico Xavier are wonderful. They are coaching us to learn how to see life from this through the bifocal lenses. We need to learn it, friends, especially as the spiritists. We already know. We are here and bifocal lenses. Oh, I see the material life. Boom. Oh, I see the spiritual life. Now I understand what's happening. Don't doubt it, because now we don't believe. We know. Remember? Now we know. It's not only belief, right? Exactly. So he's saying, a new era begun with that energetic and generous young man, the Augustus, the emperor, as though influenced by a group of unknown forces. You see? Bifocal lenses. The greatest empire of the world now rested on a wave of harmony and joy after centuries of terrible wars. We are getting there in the United States too. Just wait. Let's Wait like the Christians, remember? Work and wait. Work and wait. And I remember a good friend. Now he's a friend, but he was my PhD mentor. Marcos Brandão, from the University of São Paulo in Ribeirão Preto. I owe him a great deal. He said to me once, Vanessa, don't forget, in this world, we work and stay in silence. He didn't mean we're not going to speak. He just mentioned that when struggles happen in our way, we just keep it to ourselves. And if you ask me if he is a spiritist, I don't think he was. No. But he was this ethical, moral man who taught me this lesson, which is pretty much what we're learning here. That harmony comes as we keep working, trusting, and waiting. Remember, we sow, but time is a gift of God. Only time can let things grow. Let's keep sowing, sowing. Do not stop to wait for the flower to grow. There's no time, my friends. Just spread the seeds. Right? Spreading it out. And go. Keep going. Don't look back. Remember in the Old Testament, Job's wife? They said, the city is going to be burned. Leave, but don't look back. And she did. She became a statue of salt. Meaning, those people who keep like ruminating the past, ruminating the past, ruminating the past. The past is long gone and they're still there. Oh, it happened to me one day and that person did this and that and the other and this and that and the other. And they become so difficult to live with. That's why they are salty. It's a statue because they're stuck. And they're salty because they keep like telling the things that are not sweet at all. We don't want to go there. Hello, Luciana. Luciana is here too, Carol.
Yay!
Yay! Temples and noble monuments were raised everywhere. The aim of a lasting peace started in Rome, and it reached the most remote of its provinces. The long-suffering masses greeted this change. Yeah. The city of the Caesars came to be populated by artists and noble productive spirits. A blessed sense of security was present everywhere. The laws were revised, providing the benefits of education and justice to the people. We need to work upon that. However, the unforgettable emperor was feeble and sick. Now, Humberto de Campos is going to give you another perspective. Beautiful as it is, but whenever you are working for the good news on the earth, challenges show up in your way. Be prepared. Do not be afraid, because if you're afraid, sooner or later they're going to come. Yes. I know people, when they start studying Spiritism, they get to know of these laws of life. And they're like, I don't want to be that committed because I don't want problems in my life. Well, they're going to appear in your life sooner or later. And if they better appear when we're working with Christ, when we are working and resting with Jesus. Because when we're working and resting under the protection of whatever else, it doesn't feel that good. Hello, Mario André. Hi, Solange. So, the chroniclers of the time referred repeatedly to the rashes that covered the skin of the emperor. From time to time, they hurt like painful darts. Maybe he had eczema, I don't know. Octavius was never healthy. Wonderful emperor of Rome, but never healthy. Chico Xavier, wonderful, never healthy. You think Divaldo Franco is super healthy? Who amongst us is 100% healthy? Maybe we think we are. That's because we don't know what's happening in the physical body. But one thing is a sure thing. We are not healthy 100% yet because we depend on our mind. I know, Jana. I love this book too. That's why we need to bring it to English. It's long, that a long time we are taking to publish a book that is soon to be published by the Brazilian Spiritist Federation, an international publisher. His legs were always wrapped, and his chest was always protected against the wind. He's talking about the Emperor of Rome at the time, which could cause incessant colds. Often, he complained about migraines, which were followed by a feeling of weakness. Did you know that, for example, Abraham Lincoln, do you doubt he was a missionary? No. But do you know he had health issues, including bipolar depression? There's a book that talks about it. He suffered a lot too, but he was wonderful. We owe him a great deal. The unity of the country he kept. So we need to meditate that when we're working for the good news of Jesus, not necessarily we're going to have everything in place. Big deal. We don't have to, right? We're just fulfilling orders. We're not the ones who are inventing the wheels. We don't need to reinvent them either. Now, here we have. Nonetheless, his name was given to the illustrious century that saw his birth. The long years of his government were marked by unforgettable initiatives. The collective soul of the empire never felt such sense of stability and joy. Joy because of the good news. The glorious vista of Rome had never assembled so many wise men. And goes on talking about these beautiful times on the earth, the preparation for the good news. And he says, that is because the historians of Augustus' time did not realize it was the century of the gospel or of the good news. Did you know? Now we're living the era of the good news. The era of the good news brought in by Jesus. So what do we feel when we know we're receiving good news? What do you do first when somebody tells you, I have good news for you? What do you do first? What do you do first, Carol?
Go. Yeah.
Carol.
This is what I do.
Yay! What do you do, my friend? Hi, Rosie. What do? You smile? You open your eyes like in curiosity? So let us open our hearts and clap and smile and rejoice and jump up and down and say, bring it on, bring it on. We want it. We want good news. Joy is certainly the first feeling, right? We rejoice when we get good news. So he says, the historians forgot that the noble Octavius was also a man, and that during his reign, they were not able to know that the realm of Christ was approaching the earth in deep vibrations of love and beauty. Love and beauty. You know, there's a book also that is yet to be in English, Spiritism in the Art by Leon Denis, and he talks about beauty from a different perspective. Beauty being harmony, divine harmony. And he says, Jesus came and the vibrations of love and beauty came with him because he's the divine sent representative by God. Warlike spirits such as those of Alexander or Hannibal were not approaching Rome and the world, but other spirits dressed in fishermen's rags would serve as the indestructible base of the eternal teachings of the Lord. Eternal. These teachings are immortal. If you spend time learning this, we assure you, you're going to take it to immortality. This time we spend studying the gospel, the teachings of the good news, are immortal. You are carrying to immortality. So you're never going to waste time. Oh, but I have to do this at home. Mary or Martha, which one you want to be? The one that takes care of immortal things, Mary, or Martha, the sister who was concerned about the temporary ones. Whatever time you dispense in your life to work on learning and feeling the good news of Jesus, you are investing in your soul. Are you ready? Big investment, of time, which is not even ours. But we can co-create on top of it and say, God, I'm going to use the time you grant me for free to dedicate myself to learning and feeling this good news. And when we feel the good news, we take action. We think about those who are around us, who are with us, and need help. And forgive me for saying around us because it feels very egocentric and it's not right. Those who are in this universe as well, okay? It's not around us because we're not the center of the universe. Even the expressions we have to change when we realize that we are no longer the center of the universe. If there was a time we thought the earth was, the center of the universe, many of us, if not majority of us on the earth, still feel and still are in the habit of feeling that the world is around us, that people come to our lives. These expressions we need to change because they don't match what we know. They're not coherent, right? We are together. People don't come our way. We meet in the universe. People are not around us. We are together with people. We change the way we talk. We need to tame these expressions to be more coherent. Like Painter Joseph says, we need to align thoughts with feelings, words with action. Kardec was very refined and careful when he chose his words. We need to do the same. As we evolve pure spirits, we're more careful about the words and expressions we use in our daily lives. And I have somebody who is a friend of mine, and he uses to say bad names, curse a lot. He says, Vanessa, it doesn't mean anything. And I say, no, I think it does, because it's about intention and vibration. If you think the words are mere words, they are not. They carry a lot of load, a lot of vibration, so we need to pay attention. Right? Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Adilson, for your kindness. Now, he says, the spirits who would be preparing for the arrival of the Lord were immersed in the spiritual fluids of the planet. They would become humble and immortal followers in his divine footsteps. So he's telling us, he's revealing to us that those humble people who worked spreading Jesus' messages and were his own apostles, they were prepared. They were preparing, they were immersed in the spiritual fluids of the planet. They would become humble and immortal followers in his divine footsteps. It is for that reason that the mystical ascendance of the heir of Augustus occurred amid the peace and the joy of the people who instinctively felt that they were on the verge of a heavenly transformation. So if you are anywhere and you feel this heavenly feeling, Karen and I used to say like Jupiter moment. It's like, because Jupiter is more advanced. In our solar system, Jupiter is one of the advanced planets of happy spirits, and we feel that heaven on earth. You bet we're not alone. We don't co-create it ourselves. It's the presence of superior spirit. So when you feel it, send gratitude and stay there in that synchronicity with them, and let's deserve to be with them. And the trick to do so is serving, being open to help, open to serve, and we stay there in synchronicity. The sublime emissary was going to arrive on earth, Jesus. How exciting! His lesson of truth and light would spread throughout the world as showers of magnificent and comforting blessings. From that moment, humanity was living the century of the good news. It was the engagement party that Jesus referred to in his undying teaching. Yeah, no, you're not a nun. You're not a priest. That's not what we mean when you're engaged to Jesus. Let's be loyal to Jesus. We're committed. We're committed. He's committed to us. Are we committed to him? Are we? Not the person, the immortal spirit. Not the one people created, the one that these teachings are revealing to us. It feels good. This is December 4th, and we are opening our doors to feel Christ like never before. Let's feel the healthy waves of his presence, the healthy, joyful waves of hope, of kindness, tenderness, compassion, and especially mercy. Mercy. We need mercy on the earth, right? Thank you, Patricia, for your kindness. After the Feast of the Hearts, which served as an indelible guide to humanity's harmony, the Gospel would remain the most lively and beautiful book of the world, constituting the permanent message of heaven among the beings who are in transit through the earth. The map of blessed spiritual heights, the guide of the way, and the manual of love, courage, and everlasting joy. Stop for a minute. Humberto de Campos, how could you write it in this way? He is telling us that these teachings of the good news are a permanent message of heaven for us on the earth. They are a map of blessed spiritual heights. So if you want to fly high spiritually, the map. Jesus has a map. You know, sometimes I watch Dora the Explorer with Virginia. He used to. And she always has maps. So I can almost visualize like the map of Jesus, and we coming with him joyfully, courageously, in this everlasting joy. He is the guide of the way, the GPS in other words. He's a GPS, the heavenly GPS of our lives. If you wake up tomorrow like, I don't know what to do, turn on the GPS of Jesus. What do I do? Oh, I forgot, that's the address. Okay, push the button and go. Together, work and rest under the friendly and generous protection of Jesus. The manual of love, courage, and everlasting joy. Everlasting. You know, whenever I watch a comedy, you know, it's so interesting to watch these movies, the ones that are light, comedy-like. But you laugh and you enjoy, and then it's over. Where's my joy? I need to watch another one. But we don't have time, right? So, where can I find everlasting joy? Jesus' map is the map, is the manual for everlasting joy. If we follow through, we're gonna smile and feel the joy endlessly, everlastingly. So in order to maintain such characteristics among humanity as the expression of his wise will, Jesus recommended to his apostles that they initiate his glorious testimony with the hymns and the sweet scents of nature under the wonderful light of a star that would guide kings and shepherds to the rustic manger, where the first notes of his melody of love were chanted. They should also finish it with a luminous vision of the future of humanity in possession of the blessings of redemption. It is for this reason that the Gospel of Jesus, which is the book of love and joy, begins with the description of that glorious Christmas night. Are you moved? I am moved. Right, Carol? It is for that reason that the Gospel of Jesus, which is the book of love and joy, begins with the description of that glorious Christmas night. And it ends with the profound vision of the liberated Jerusalem as described by John in his divine prophecies of the Apocalypse. Yeah, this is the end of chapter 1. Good news. And you know, as we talk about these feelings of Christmas, these feelings of unity with Christ, it reminds me of a beautiful song that was put together by a friend, James Marotta, who wrote several songs for not only for Kardec Radio. He wrote Spiritist songs, but he also has this segment at Kardec Radio, Spiritist Awareness, every Friday at 8 p.m. And there is always a song being broadcast at that program. But the beauty of it all is that he wrote the song, and 2 musicians in Belo Horizonte, Brazil, sang it, and one of them discarnated recently, Cacau, and we appreciated very much her work, and we're sending her waves of gratitude for her beautiful voice and for touching us with this beautiful song that is in Portuguese and in English. Noite igual. Noite igual não haverá nesse mundo e o céu. And she says in English, Holy night, never will men see the sky is so bright, you will never see anything alike. Na, 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 na. And then she goes on and on. You can Google it, Noite Igual, or Holy Night. If you want, send us a line at kardecradio.com. We have a contact form, and I can send you the link, okay? Or later, I can post right here for you, so you can listen and feel, because music can help us feel the teachings. Yes, art helps us bring the knowledge to the heart. Blessed are the arts. So let us rejoice, dear friends, because today we are in this 30-day journey of good news with Jesus, with the Master. Are you happy? Yes, Carol did. Rejoice. Beautiful hug, my friends, and a hug of gratitude. Let us rejoice and spread the news that Jesus is still living. He lives, and He is protecting us. He is giving us His love and His joy. Beautiful, beautiful hug for all of you. Thank you.